All right, welcome to episode number 269 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We are recording on June the 29th, 2025. My name is Eric, host of the show, based in Southern Ontario, hunter, target shooter, ham radio operator, and of course, computer geek. As a first responder, witnessed an over-reliance on emergency services during major events and started a small preparedness company for helping people out to be prepared for at least 72 hours, if not longer.
And I'm Jeff. I'm based in Central Ontario, Southern Ontario right now. Target shooter, ham radio operator, general overall handyman, and weather nerd.
My name's Pierre. I'm a tactical beard owner, based t-shirt merchant, government critique, and the reason we hit the explicit button pretty much every time I'm on.
It is.
I'm Greg. I'm a former infantryman, homesteader, and I can see Canada from my house.
My condolences.
Want to help support this? Want to help support the show? Buy some swag. We have both the Canadian Prepper Podcast T-shirt and tactical Velcro patch at prepperpodcast.ca. All those proceeds help cover our podcast costs.
If you're enjoying the show, please take a few minutes and submit a review. Wherever you found us, we want your feedback, even if it's bad. We also invite you to reach out and to tell us about something you learned this week. You can email us at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca.
All right, so we've got some attack style content for you in this episode, just because I couldn't come up with anything better to say for this topic. We're going to start out with some recent news. We'll update you on our personal preps since the last episode. I'm going to get into the main topic. We're just talking about EMP, cyber attack. Which one do you think is more likely? Because why not? So moving to the news.
So I got a couple articles. I'll start with my second one first. So a week ago yesterday, last Saturday, we had a pretty good storm that went through the northern part of Central Ontario, I guess you want to call it. And there was a mother and her 13-year-old son that got trapped in the storm and the son was severely injured. And so I'll just kind of read a bit from the article, and it talks about just, everything that we kind of bring forward. So it says the mother of the Ottawa boy severely injured when a tree fell on their tent is praising first responders and crediting wilderness training courses she took for helping her get through until help arrived. It basically says her and her 13-year-old son had been camping, and the storm come in and a tree fell, and the son was seriously injured. It said that she had taken wilderness first aid and first responder training courses with, and I'm not supporting this company in anything, I'm just saying the article, Boreal River Rescue. And she said her training kicked in immediately, got him out from under the tree, and assessed his injuries. And she was also able to send an SOS signal from a GPS and satellite communication device she had with her. It reached first responders who embarked on an exhausting 25-kilometer trek through fallen trees and brush using chainsaws to cut their way through. And then they had to canoe 300 meters to get to them on an island. So just goes to show, and she also makes the comment, she said, being prepared with essentials like a headlamp and a first aid kit was crucial. You never know when something's going to happen. Yep. And, kudos to her. I like to think this is kind of why we do this show. It's for things like this. Mm-hmm. And if we've saved or helped somebody get on the path and they save a life, it's all worth it. So, they float planed him out the next morning. The EMT stabilized him, and they were able to get an M&R float plane in, and they flew him out. And then Orange took him to CHEO, which is Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, where he's being treated for multiple fractures, but he's alive.
Well,
that's awesome.
Did it say how old the little boy was?
13.
Yeah, 13. That's
13. Yeah. So
that's a heck of a trek for a 13-year-old. Like, honestly, injuries or not, like, kudos to him.
Yeah. Well, he didn't get
kudos
there.
To the mom. I feel like
they stayed put, and all the first responders came to them, but he had to trek the 25 kilometers in to get there in the first place. So,
yeah. Like that's
Yeah.
a haul.
Unless they
good
had
to
a
hear
really
that
I
cool
can just see a
went.
mom.
Yeah.
I can just see the mom just out there deadlifting trees off this kid. Like, mama doesn't skip leg day.
Nope.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
not.
No, it's good to hear that they went out and were actually prepared for the
Yeah.
worst. You know, you always go out and hope for the best, but you're prepared for the worst. And it sounds like
Yeah.
they were ready to go there. That's and it worked out for the best. So that's
Yep.
awesome. It's unfortunate it happened to begin with, but it's awesome that they had all the equipment and everything they needed to get through it, and with a good ending too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my second article, it's something that's still developing, but kind of more, I guess, situational awareness, if you want to call it. But there was a wildfire that popped up in Idaho, and when the fire department responded, they got shot at. It doesn't say how many of them were
No.
injured or whether there's any fatalities, but they figure it was an ambush, and they came under fire as soon as they arrived on scene. It's rare that the fire guys are the targets. It's usually law enforcement, but it just goes to show you some people's mental state. As long as you wear a uniform, you're a target.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for
Crazy,
something
crazy.
like that.
That's wild.
Yeah, annoying below degens. Like that's a whole other podcast that we should probably not do while we're recording and live streaming. But the opinion about people
That's-
like that. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like everybody's okay. Hopefully the news stays like that. And happy to hear
Yeah.
that. And fuck that guy or girl or it.
6 minutes and 50 seconds in, explicit button hit
Mhm.
appropriately
I
too.
tried.
Yeah,
I tried.
appropriately. Yeah.
Yeah, that one set me off.
They just updated the story, and they said that 2 deceased after multiple people shot responding to the burn. Doesn't say that it's firemen, but chances are probably that they were.
Yeah,
That's unfortunate.
that's horrible. That's no good.
Nope.
We should do things to that person.
So I know in Chattanooga, I used to work on fire trucks and everything, and the firefighters in Chattanooga now have to ride around with like Kevlar vests in the back of the trucks at all times and everything, as a just in case for
Option.
that
Yeah.
was
Wild.
yeah.
Who
And
would
that
have
was
thought
back
that
in
fire would have to be wearing
2015.
vests?
Yeah,
Crazy.
like
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
it's wild.
So you've got a news article there, Pierre?
Yeah. So speaking of degens, similar to the last one, doesn't involve Canada, but just something to keep in mind. I'm going to talk about France right now. Syringe attacks at a music festival, 145 people assaulted.
Wild.
As you know, I am not a fan of people, and
Especially people with syringes.
yeah. So we'll get into that in the preps thing after this, but just being mindful. So someone was from the article that I was reading, someone was just like walking around, just like stabbing people, injecting people. 145 people, giant festival and everything. So I'm like, probably a very low percentile, but still not impossible. Keep your head on a swivel, avoid situations.
Anything above
Yeah.
0% is too high when it comes to jabbing people with needles or any other kind of harm, really.
Yeah.
But like jabbing people with needles, that's a whole
Unless
other
you're
level of-
diabetic.
What?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Jabbing people
Diabetic,
for
you're in
nefarious
shock and
purposes.
I'm taking,
What-
taking your EpiPen out. Like,
I mean, I guess it's France, but I mean, like,
Could be
I'm
anywhere.
just going to throw this out there and say, if somebody's going around stabbing people with a syringe, how were they able to get 145 people before somebody punched them in the face or something else? And
the other worry
Yeah.
is I'm probably sure that guy didn't like stab someone and then put the cap on it and put it like in a safe injection bin.
yeah,
Good point.
That was probably
easy.
5 needles used. Like, and the article doesn't specifically say if it was multiple attacks. Let's say 10 people walking around and they all got
Right.
14 people, or it doesn't specify that specifically, or at least not as much as I read of it. But it was just something to bring up that, like, be mindful. It's getting to that time of year. Like, Canada Day is in 2 days. Like, you could be going to your local areas to go participate. Like, obviously, you don't want to think like that, but it is something, you got to be mindful, especially with your kids, grandkids, friends, family, whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, Pete's Lost in the Woods in the live chat there is saying that 12 people were arrested, so not just one person.
Right,
That's
so
just
12 people, 145,
crazy.
like, you're thinking 10 people
Crazy.
each, so probably more than 12, 10, 11 people, 12 people each. So, still fairly high on the standard of it.
Just the fact that 12 people alone head to this festival with the intention of jabbing people with needles is just like mind-blowing to me. But
Bizarre. Yep.
Yeah. So, not in Canada, but let's be mindful. Anything can happen.
Could be
anywhere.
a thing, right?
Yeah.
Could very well be. Wild. Just wild.
Yep.
Well, on that happy note, shall we move on to what we've done lately for preps?
Depends on happy on that.
Yeah, so I talked about it a bit after the ice storm and an area that popped up in my preps and glared. So I fixed that this week. I pulled the plug and grabbed myself an Anker Solix F200 portable power station. Everything just kind of fell into place. The price was right. I had a little extra funds set aside and everything just kind of worked out. So I pulled the plug and I've got that, and we'll see what I haven't had a chance to test it yet or anything, but I'll fill in the blanks on the Discord and stuff here when I get to try it out and make sure it works. I did a bunch more yard cleanup. That's still ongoing. Still doing more firewood for 2 years from now. I'll be doing that, like I said, most of the summer. Yeah. And the other glaring thing I found was that even though I had lots of propane, I didn't have enough. So I've snagged a few more extra propane tanks.
From Walmart?
I was going to say not from Walmart, right?
Nope. Again, all the prices were right. Like I grabbed a 100-pound propane tank full. It's expired, but it's full for $140. Probably another $120, $130 to get it recertified and filled. A new tank's $230 plus taxes, and then you got to fill it. So, I mean, it was, and I grabbed a couple of other smaller tanks for really cheap prices. So, I'm always looking, just kind of up in my game as I go. But I realized from what happened there that I wasn't where I needed to be. So, that's what I'm working on.
And I got a feeling, I got a feeling now that you got that Anker, you'll probably end up getting that propane, even the propane you had, to last a little bit longer.
It'll last a lot longer, I'm sure.
Yeah, because you don't have to have the generator running to run a few things that you were probably like, well, I'll keep the generator running because I want to do this and that or whatever. So, I'm looking forward to the reviews on that because.
Like I said, I think I said the, I've got the big generator to run the whole house, but when I don't need it on, then I had no power. So, I couldn't charge my phones. My laptop's on battery, but I mean, so, my router and all that stuff that, why am I running a 9400 watt generator for a router and a laptop and a monitor? Like, so that was one of my,
I know, for sure.
One of the things I looked at and it's got the 30 amp RV plug. So, it would be something good for the trailer here too. If just a short-term interim thing while the power's out, and so we'll see.
That's good.
Yeah, curious on getting the feedback on how long that 30 amp works on like a full charge, good charge, mediocre day where you're running AC, but it's not like the weather we had last week, but like just something regular, like how long did it last? What could you do? Or even a cool day, how long does it run everything except for the AC? Because we all know AC is going to run a crap load of that battery, but I'm looking forward to the reviews on it from you.
Yeah, me as well.
No.
Yeah, for myself, I know this one's going to be shocking for everybody, but I took the portable HF radio out and blew the dust off it because I haven't had it out and about for a little while. And we're heading camping next week, so I'm going to be at a provincial park, so I got to bring the radio and practice some portable comms. So got it all running and working, and it still works. Everything's set up the way that I left it, and it still operates. So we're going to take the kiddos and head camping next weekend, and
nice.
get all ready for that. So with that comes testing out all the off-grid stuff, because why not? We're not going to have power for a couple of days there, so we may as well bring it all and test it out. So
Nice.
Yeah.
As for myself, did some travels last week. But even prior to that, kind of had to try out and test out some first aid stuff, because me and my fantastic significant other decided to go out with some friends. There was a bar in town doing like a specialty night, and it was called the Emo Prom. So the music I listened to when I was in school, I was like, okay, fine, let's go. Then on the way home, we're 99% positive that she got something slipped in her drink or was somewhere. So we're pretty sure she got roofied. So I had to do a little bit of first aid
Jeez.
stuff, and like, okay, like, you don't have like a 200 beats per minute heartbeat, and like, you probably feel like crap, like have some water, a little bit of food, get some sleep. What's the next day look like? Like, do we need to go to the hospital? So fuck people.
Yeah.
Probably not that, like, yeah. So we've pretty much decided next time we want to do that, she's gonna get dressed up and we're gonna go in the backyard with a Bluetooth speaker by the fire. And then
I approve this.
it's like, it was kind of crazy, a few days of recovery, everything's good, everything seems fine, but kind of a crazy scenario that's even still a thing. I mean, it's shitty it was a thing to start with, but that's
wild.
Yeah,
Never expected to hit home, right?
No, exactly. And I mean, there's been incidents years ago where it happened to my sister. Randomly, she doesn't go to the bars often either, and like same thing. So it's like, I'm just like, I think we should like probably avoid certain areas and everything. So, that's more of a okay, make sure you're good. We both got some good sleep. Stayed up till like 7 o'clock in the morning because all sorts of messed up. Make sure you get some water in you and all that stuff. And so kind of groggy the next day and the day after. A few days of recovery.
Wild.
Not like it was when we were 20. I can tell you that much. It took me like a week to fucking recover from that night's no sleep.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, just something to be cautious about, even if it's something like we went with good friends and we did the smart thing. You always hold your drink. If you're going outside for a cigarette, you're going to the bathroom, you're not taking a drink, you finish your drink, or you put your drink and you forget about it. It wasn't anything that we've never learned, but just something that hit close to home, and a little on the crazy side. So be careful, make sure you know what to do if that is. Get your naloxone, Narcans, whatever you want to call them. Might not be bad to keep around if you're doing stuff like that. Thankfully, we didn't have to use it, but at least we had it if needed.
Wild. Yeah. I hate people too.
Yeah.
It's just my God. Well, I guess we'll go to Greg.
So pretty much all I've done here lately is, besides working, did some range days, weapons maintenance, did some radio checks for obviously my newer area, and just some vehicle maintenance. Not a whole lot of going on right now.
I'm glad I'm not the only radio nerd in this. That's what we've done lately.
Yeah, he was just looking for what FM channel didn't play Taylor Swift.
Oh, he was looking for Taylor. Oh, that kind of radio check. Never mind.
I can't talk to Eric about ham radios because I'm just like, what? And then it hits me. I was like, oh, so this is what people feel like when I talk about guns. Great.
100%. I'm like, we've had like 5 episodes about like going down the rabbit hole of ham radios. And I was like, after every episode, I was like, how do I end up more confused and more questions? And I don't know even how to ask the question. Like,
just take the mic, you push the button, you talk.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be at. When I get it, I'm just gonna be like, Eric, this is my budget. What do I buy? And send me YouTube links on how to set it up, and then I'll be good.
Done.
It's definitely gonna have to be the Baofeng UV5R, 100%. You don't need anything else. No matter what anybody tells you, that's all you need.
I may or may not have 4 close to me.
Mine's in the other room.
There's another one for you. I got a whole bunch of them sitting here. But with that,
I
maybe
love it.
we'll move into the main topic, and we're talking about EMP and or cyber attack this evening. So, figured to be a fun episode to just banter back and forth. Doesn't have to be anything serious. Just really, which one do we think is more likely to occur, and why? And live chat, don't be afraid to chime in as well as you usually do. Throw a couple things at us, and we'll go from there. We've done episodes on cyber attack before, and just cyber related things. We've talked about EMPs before as well. Some of the times either scenario can kind of cross paths with each other as far as the type of devastation that they can cause. Sometimes they're completely separate in what they can cause, but there are possibilities that some people are preparing for and others aren't. I just figured it'd be kind of a fun episode to just banter back and forth with the panel and just see which one we think is more likely.
I right off the get-go, I think cyber attack is more something that we need to worry about compared to EMP. EMP gonna have something come across like a lot more traceable, where cyber attacks can be done a lot more remotely. VPNs,
Right.
Even if big government did it, there's a fall guy, and all of a sudden he's got something on Clinton's, and like his brake lines are cut, and he ends up in a river, and it wasn't his fault.
Right.
So I personally just think cyber attack is something I would be more worried about, but I'm not going to disclude EMPs.
Fair. Dave in the live chat's chiming in saying cyber attack more likely. No physical presence in the area needed. 110% correct.
Yeah.
You can be attacked from the other side of the world.
Yeah,
on the other side of the world.
Yep.
You can be in China, Uganda, the UK, Brazil, Nicaragua, like doesn't matter where, as long as
Anywhere.
you've got the knowledge of knowing what to do. Yeah, right. So that's why I'm thinking that is more likely, cheapest way. EMP, you got to get people into the country, you got to get all the supplies in there, you got to build
not
it.
necessarily. All you have to be able to do is figure out a way to get that nuke in the air. I don't know what, 100 miles in the air, and detonate it in the sky.
EMP.
But you got to figure out how to get it there. That's as
right,
opposed to just sitting behind a keyboard and hacking. So
there's that, or the sun can get really pissed off, right?
Yes.
And
That part.
cause
That's
probably
what
a
I was
smaller.
waiting on. I was waiting for somebody else to say it.
Yeah. So there you go. Right. So there's that option as well. So it doesn't have to be human caused, right? It could totally be the sun just gets angry and does its thing, and zaps a bunch of us.
Greg mentioned it in the pre-chat, the Carrington effect, or Carrington event, whatever, from way back. But that was
1859.
That was a solar flare, massive solar flare. But
that affected the Quebec area, if I remember correctly.
I think it was,
apparently.
I didn't know
it was
that.
more than that, I believe.
Yeah.
It was
Just to tie it back into Canada, right? It was definitely Quebec area. Not sure what other areas were affected, but that was a major thing.
Is that why they're stubborn assholes now? Because they're like, what happened to us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yep. What we've seen.
It's going as you.
Oh boy, here we go. When Pierre starts throwing the French out, we're in trouble.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
But it's really those are two major events that could certainly happen at any given time. I kind of side on the side of cyber attack being more likely in today's day and age, just because really, if you think about it, it's already happened and or happening. Right? We might not even know, so we don't know what's happening right now until it affects us, right? But even look at the cellular hack there that happened recently. A lot of U.S. carriers were affected, but all of a sudden recently we've just heard that a Canadian carrier has also stepped up and said, well, you know what, actually we were also infiltrated in this, and that's not good.
And
a whole bunch of communications all being snooped on, right?
Or the other one that comes to mind to me was the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack back, I don't know, 2020, 2021. I can't remember exactly, but basically they shut down the gas pipeline that fed most of the eastern United States with fuel.
Right.
And they were running out. Gas stations were starting to run out, and they tried to fix it or get rid of it, whatever. Anyways, at the end of the day, the company ended up paying $4 million in ransom to get the keys to be able to get rid of us. Whatever wording, Eric, you're the nerd. You know what I'm doing.
They're lucky that group had the keys, because they don't always have the keys. You send them the money and they go, thanks, and they just run away with it.
Yeah.
Phil in the live chat's got a good point as well. Says cyber attacks, attempted breaches are already happening on a daily basis, directed by governments and their proxies. It's not wrong. It's a huge area for governments to attack now. It doesn't have to just be the rogue actors, right? There are advanced persistent threats that are government run, and even like military sections that are dedicated to just cyber attack now. So totally a thing. Phil's got a good point.
Absolutely. That and EMP technically hasn't happened for real, except for in which movie was it? Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 12? Or was it 13? 11, wasn't it?
Yeah. Greg's got the answer.
Yeah.
Pete Sloss in the Woods in the live chat just mentions, when you speak of cyber attack, are you meaning a large scale and not just individual, correct? Good point. We could break them down. Large scale is obviously going to affect everybody or a large area, but an individual cyber attack could also be pretty detrimental just to yourself, right? It might not affect anyone around you, but if your accounts are hacked, like your bank accounts taken out, other accounts are broken into, and you lose access to them, that could have a huge impact on yourself. So we could just break it up into both, right? Make both of them open for discussion, because
I mean,
either or will have an effect on you.
I actually read an article not that long ago that they got a text or an email about CRA. I think it was CRA, and it looked real. They went on CRA. They Googled CRA, and the first one that came up, it looked like it was the right thing. They put all their info in, and next thing you know, they're out $27,000 out of their checking and savings account. So,
ouch! That's a huge hit.
Like that's way worse than me not being able to make a phone call in a day or two. Like
actually, that's a really good point.
Yeah, if you try to steal my identity, the only thing you're going to get is depressed.
I have the same thing, right? Like, if you want to steal my credit card, you got to pay it off first.
I'm pretty sure if I stole your identity, it would come with a couple of guns, though, wouldn't it, Greg?
Maybe a shower one too.
Yeah.
So what do we think about?
There's a shower gun. There's a bar gun.
So what do we think about Dave's comment there? Maybe getting a little down into a rabbit hole, but he says EMPs are more likely perpetrated by our own governments to force more reliance and enact martial law. I don't know if I would quite go that far right now, but I mean other governments like I don't doubt for a second that like countries like an EMP, obviously, I mean, they just bombed. So here's something I'll throw out there. So they just bombed Iran because they were afraid of them getting potentially having a nuclear or being able to make a nuclear bomb. And, but nobody's asking, does Israel have a nuclear bomb? Do they have the ability to make one? They seem to be, they were doing all the attacking when, I don't know.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to fire back at the States, we are right here attached to them, so it'll affect us too, right?
Yeah, and we'd probably
only if they pay the tariff.
Well, you got to pay the tariff. They got the EMP over the border, of course. Yeah, that's a given.
And if not, it's illegal, and then they can handcuff it and send it back to us.
Right.
Yes,
that's right.
And
nobody wants that.
No, exactly. Nobody wants that. So
yeah,
let's just
so we'll just
so that's the whole.
Definitely think that Dave. I definitely think Dave has a point, and another thing that you can look at from not necessarily just enacting like a martial law situation, but it could also be in like a situation to where, or a scenario where the country has become divided or is very anti-government instead of, backing its own people. So you cause an event like that to basically come in, play hero, and basically you're just raising morale. You want to paint yourself as a hero.
And I mean, we can
and not necessarily just relying on them, but basically altering their view of you as well.
And I mean, we can get into the whole side tangent of the LA riots a few weeks ago, but the whole Trump thing, shutting down certain highways and this and that. Like, I don't know enough of the details. I'm not looking for articles. It's probably all bullshit because I saw what happened with the convoy in Canada. But is that part of the propaganda? Like, everybody thinks Cyberattack is like, oh, you got hacked and you got to give me $1 million to get all the info back or whatever. But like, we can even go down the rabbit hole of like cyber attacks about like, right, as the Orange Man says and everybody says, like, fake news. If you get enough fake news out there and enough people to follow it, you can cause disruption in society without actually doing any damage to any servers, no hacking. You just got a troll farm on the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the YouTubes, and just fear mongering is part of cyber attacks, right?
100% it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, I still, I still think we're probably, I mean, could an EMP happen? Possibly. I would think they would try the cyber attack route first, and then the EMP would be the nuclear, excuse the expression, but the nuclear option. If the cyber attack failed, they'll just go, oh, okay, that didn't work. Then we'll just do this now. So.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, like, right, we're talking cyber attacks. So everybody thinks like someone's getting hacked. And I'm just like, nah, this cyber warfare, you can go down rabbit holes, and I have enough whiskey, but I got to keep some for tomorrow to go down those rabbit holes, so we won't. But yeah, just like, right, everybody thinks like cyber attacks, like they think like, oh, did they hack PlayStation? Did they hack, like we were saying,
they did.
Excuse me. Right, yeah, exactly. All the things I'm saying because I saw news articles, but Jeff was just saying, right, like half the fuel they couldn't get to the eastern part of the country in the U.S. and this that. So like, everybody thinks that, or which was a movie where the collapse of society, all the ATMs start dumping money and you can't buy anything, and it's like they can. A cyber attack could also be mental. If you get enough of the populace to believe something, that can be everything it is all on its own, way better than an EMP and shutting down the power grid, to be honest.
So and if I'm not mistaken, there was something, I'm going to guess, a couple of years ago, and I'm thinking it was one of the major supermarkets, like a Zehrs or a Sobeys or something like that, and all of their cash registers just stopped working, and they were down, I think a day and a half or something, and the stores were closing because they couldn't cash people out, they couldn't log in, they couldn't. Was that a cyber attack? I don't know. I think they said it was a software update gone wrong or something, but they'll never tell you the truth. But you're right, Pierre. It doesn't have to be the power going out. Simple fact that you just can't go to the grocery store and buy food.
Yeah. I mean, not without the proper tools at that point. But allegedly.
Melissa in the live chat's got a good point just about smart homes being able to be attacked, right? Totally possible. We're linking all of our devices up now to the internet, washers, dryers, door locks, cameras, security systems, your ovens. Yeah, you name it. It's all connected to Wi-Fi now out of convenience. But those companies don't do security well, and that's a well-known fact. So right now we're seeing them usually used just for botnets and doing attacks and stuff, but it could be, with the right mindset, you could use that for all kinds of other, weird and wonderful things. If you've got somebody you don't like that you want to attack their house with, right?
Yeah,
totally doable.
It is one
Cause
of those
physical
things.
damage, right?
Yeah, if unless the app is proprietary, where I gotta like hire Eric to build a server so this thing works, I don't want smart TV. Well, I
I can't afford that.
But like, no, me neither. Well, you got U.S. funds, and when you switch to Canadian, you'd be surprised what you could probably afford. But
yeah,
right, considering for us, I wouldn't like. Not that long ago, we had that person like walk around like, "Oh, who do you have service for? You're not with us. What can we do for you?" And they were like,
yeah.
"We'll give you security." And I was like, "Through like you?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "No." They're like,
No.
"What do you mean?" I'm like, "You can have the app. You can check from anywhere in the world." And I was like, "Yeah, that means someone else can get in." I was like, "I don't trust you." I was like, I just don't, right? Like, I know there's precautions we can take, and there's a lot of things that I can do to prevent it, which just doesn't make me the easy target. But yeah, just being mindful. Like if you've got 6 smart TVs, you've got I personally call them commie spies, but the Alexas or the Google Homes. But you've got the doorbell cameras and you've got the smart whatever. Like, right? You want to talk about cyber attacks? Like, what happens if everything in your house starts going crazy? And as Melissa said, like just playing Britney Spears till 8 o'clock in the morning, like you can't sleep. It's just it's Britney, bitch, all fucking night coming through those speakers.
Oh boy. Dave's got another good one in the live chat. Just remember, today's conspiracy theories are tomorrow's news cycle. Not wrong.
No, he's not wrong.
At all.
No.
Yep.
And then Phil in the live chat's got a good one too here. The issue with an EMP is you have no way to hide the launch point. The missile launch would be detected right after launch, and the offending country would likely be turned into glass. You're not wrong. Eventually, you'd figure out who launched it and why.
Yeah, you may not know right away. I mean, there was chatter many years ago that a rogue country would just do something like have a freighter ship that looks like it's coming over and it's got containers and everything in it, and it gets close to the shore, and then all of a sudden it just shoots the. Well, now you got to figure out, okay, where did that come from? Who put it in there? Who?
Yeah.
It's not just a country
Is it
of a launch
nuclear?
point.
Is it not nuclear? Like.
Yep.
Give me. I'll try and not get sidetracked. You guys keep talking. I'm going to try
But
and find the podcast I want to mention. So there was someone on another podcast, the Sean Ryan show, a little while ago, and it was a person that wrote the book about like what would happen if nuclear war would happen, and like the devastation of like what happens in the first hour. Like if someone sends a nuke our way, we send a bunch of nukes their way, and then everything. And they're like within the first hour, like 90% of the country's dead, like 100 million people are dead, and like the whole thing. And I'm like, it makes you kind of think, where I'm just like, yeah, no, nuke's bad. Let's just stay with like 5.56 and 9 mils, like, and yeah, damn it, I got distracted. I'm gonna try and find it. Carry on.
That never happens.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
I want to throw a curveball into the discussion here, and likelihood of a cyber attack causing an EMP by causing that nuke to be launched. Oh.
Okay, so I need way more info on what an EMP is for me to decipher which as
I was about to say, I don't have enough information of what's going on for all that.
So you're saying for a nuke to go off, like you're saying a nuke or an EMP, or like the cyber attack to make the nuke, like
cyber attack to launch the nuke, to have it detonate overhead to cause the EMP, because that's one way that an EMP or electromagnetic pulse can happen, is nuclear explosion high up in the atmosphere then causes the disruption in the electrical grid. Just a wild theory to throw out there, especially after Dave's comment about conspiracy theories becoming tomorrow's headlines. Maybe I shouldn't put that one out into the universe.
Yes, you don't have to directly.
It's going to be great fucking content for next week. Just saying.
You don't have to directly drop the nuke on
we need electricity for the podcast, though.
Excuse me.
So you're saying, Jeff?
No, I was just going to say you don't have to for the EMP. You don't have to drop the nuke directly on the country and kill a bunch of people. Just throw us back to the 1800s and stand back and watch us kill each other. So
yeah,
Oh, you take TikTok away, 90% of people won't know how to do anything. You take TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook away for 48 hours and watch society collapse. Like I'm not joking.
It's true.
Like,
Well, did you was
be
it
shocked.
last year?
Yeah.
Last year, Facebook went down for like 3.5 hours, and people were
Everyone lost
calling
their mind.
911 because they couldn't get into Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, wild.
3.5 hours. That's all it took.
Like that's what I mean. I'm like, cut power out. Like, just fine. Like, let's not make it anything detrimental to the system, but like, let's just say the internet is gonna get shut down for 2 days. Right? We still got power, we still got this, but you can't get on any socialist medias, and all this stuff. Like, society would collapse. We'd be into, like, the zombies have been around for 3 weeks. It's I have so little faith in if something happens that it worries me.
Yeah, so I think most of the panel is pretty much settled on Cyberattack is more likely than EMP.
Yeah. I'm more worried about a cyber attack than an EMP. Both are likely, but I'm more worried about cyber attack. And
I am too. But
I'm the
but on the flip
anti-tech
side,
person.
I'm more concerned about the natural phenomenon, like we talked, the solar flares, that kind of stuff, that will mimic an EMP, but they won't be an EMP, and that's I think that would be, for me, that would be much more plausible than an actual EMP.
Yeah, and the EMP I would think is going to be most likely a little more disruptive, at least to this group of folks that are already kind of prepared for something that's going to happen, right? Like, an EMP is going to take down electronics across the board. The cyber attack, yeah, you're going to be down for a couple days. Most likely it'll come back. Life carries on as normal. Power's still, well, potentially here, depending on what the cyber attack is on, right? But most of your services will be still around. And EMP is going to take everything out.
Unless you're talking, I don't know what year where those batteries and electronics and vehicles are good. But those pre-generation, you fucked up now, things are good. But
right,
yeah, I mean, anybody that's got fairly
You're talking about
cars,
a system where
go ahead, Greg.
yeah, anything electronic fuel injection is done for. Like, if you've got an HEI distributor at all, like, and that's even as far back into the 70s. Like, you got to be running the point system at that point. Like,
yeah, you got to be talking like direct carbs. No fuel injectors are going to work at that point. That's all electronically controlled. You know, your CPU, ECU, and all that stuff in your car will not let your car start. You know, like, you know, that old crank one where you put a 12 gauge snap cap in it and you banged it, you know, to get it started. Like, that's what's going to run, right? Like, the electronics are very minimal on that.
Yeah.
You know, all the whole computer system in your vehicle all has batteries, capacitors in it, you know, hence why when you turn your vehicle off and you leave it for 3 days, when you turn it on, your radio is still set to all the programs you want. Like, there's a capacitor in there, something that keeps that memory in there because it has power. So all that's going to get fried where, you know, you've got a 3-ton paperweight. It's completely useless.
Another thing to think about on vehicle wise is also how your ignition system works. Like, when you turn your key, you know, it's not just, it used to not be how it is now. You just turn the key and basically signals are sent. Used to be a rod goes down through your steering column and bumps that starter, and that's how you start the car. Like, everything was mechanical. So definitely wouldn't have to worry about that.
No, that'd be a non-issue. Newer cars aren't going anywhere, though.
Well, I mean, until what year is it? 2032? 2035? No more self-combustion cars?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. We'll see how that goes.
That's a whole other thing.
That's
I don't know if I have
Monday.
to worry about a horse, though.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm just saying it's.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, I figure the cyber attack side of things, at least us, and most likely the listeners that have some form of preps together, be able to kind of get through that fairly comfortably. It'll be a little discomfort here and there, but yeah, the EMPs I think would have a way bigger impact if it were to happen.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
you
definitely, and on a much larger scale as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Phil in the
definitely.
live chat's got a good point here too. Just about cyber attacks can cause physical damage. 100% they can. So outages can last a lot longer than just a few days or even weeks. So 100% again, 100% correct. Depending on the type of cyber attack and what is affected and what it causes, can certainly cause physical damage, and an outage could be a significant period of time. Same as an EMP. Just my thought on it is it might not be as detrimental to yourself depending on what is taken out. That's all situational, right? If it's power grid or something like that, it's the exact same effect, right? Minus like your car is still going to run, that kind of stuff, but your cell phone will probably still work for a period of time. So there's it all depends on exactly what is attacked in a cyber attack. An EMP just takes out anything electronic, right?
Yeah. So they could leave
Yeah.
certain things.
And so I want to, I want to go ahead and say, like, the absolute, like, personal health impact that could happen in smaller areas, because I noticed today, and I think I can tie it back to this, is there's one ambulance in the town next over to me. In Morgan, Vermont, there's literally one ambulance for the whole town. And it's right next to the post office. Yeah. Like anybody who's on any type of machinery at home, like the elderly and whatnot, it's over with.
Oh, good point.
It's done.
Good point.
Hospital.
And there's nobody, and that's multiple people, because there's not always just one person relying on something in a home in a town. There's always something, but at least a handful of people.
So what you're saying is you should move far away from family, that if EMPs happen, hopefully you're all secluded. So you only have to worry about one person, not everybody.
That's right. Exactly. 100%. I'm just kidding.
that makes sense.
No, I will 100% say, as much as I actually hate people, moving out to where I moved to, I've realized and come to know that situations like we're talking about, obviously, are horrible, but I think
blink twice if
you'd see a lot of the older folks.
I think he missed his tariff payments on the internet webs coming to Canada.
No, I actually, I got to say, I got some damn good neighbors. I got one guy, he was plowing my driveway my first year
better than your wife.
And I was like, who's plowing my yeah. But I was like, who's plowing my damn driveway? And I'm going to town. His name's Bert. He's been here pretty much as long as the town, I'm pretty sure. But the guy next to me, he's also great. I couldn't tell you his name. I've never talked to him. So that's what makes him great. I was outside shooting one day, and I just hear a faint voice in the distance just go, hell yeah.
I thought he was going to say,
at least me and him are on the same page.
And I mean, like, there's a big difference between like liking your neighbors and whatever, and just like respecting the fact that you live next to them. Like, I live fairly close to people. I don't go out of my way to interact with them, but I also don't try and hamper their day.
Right.
If someone needs something.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Okay, fine, it's not going to cause me any undue hardship. It's not going to cost me money other than a bit of time. Like, oh, you need a cup of sugar. Like, oh, okay, fine. I bought a 5 kilogram bag of sugar. Like, But I'm also not going to go specifically out of my way to be like, we need to hang out all the time and like figure out each other's Facebook passwords. You know, like
Don't worry, I already know them.
BR549.
well, I don't have Facebook, so good luck. Right, but like just also
Not that
like
you know of.
people. Why it's been 15 years since it's been open, 14, something like that. But just also having that deciding factor of like just like respecting your neighbors and like the fact that that's theirs, they can do what they want, and scratch each other's back when it's something big, not something stupid, but also having that understanding that when that time comes, because I gave you a cup of sugar doesn't mean I'm not gonna do said things. If it comes down to it.
Business is
Fair
business.
That's a good way of putting it. Good way of putting it.
Yeah, right. Like, you can not like everybody you work with at work, but like you got to be at work every day. So it's like you make the best of what you can, right? Like mutual respect.
Exactly.
You don't have to like you. You don't have to like your boss. You got to respect his position. So figure out that happy medium in anything, and then you should be semi sort of okay. If not, just fucking don't have neighbors.
Yeah. Well, should we round the tail end of the show out with a couple of ideas on preparing for the two events? Should one happen over the other, or both of them happen at one point or time or another? We'll kick off with EMP events first. Faraday cages, boxes, bags, what have you. I see Pierre is going to go with his 1 ounce solution.
Yes, it's which one's this one? This is 1 1/8, but it's 2 3/4 inch solution. Obviously, no batteries on the bead on the
nothing
back.
to get fried. Can't hack it.
Yeah, nothing. Yep. Exactly. Even if you've got red dots, if it's not something you're gonna carry all day every day, you pop that cap off and take the batteries out, and then you get yourself these little containers. Keep them obviously maybe not wrapped in tin foil, but wrap them in saran wrap, and you can put more than one battery. You can keep everything with you, and if that day ever comes, you've got some stuff allegedly.
So that would be a debate then. Would an EMP affect the battery? Lots of people say it would have no effect on it because it doesn't have an antenna. It doesn't have, but depending on the battery, some of them have the battery management system. Right? So smaller, like AA's, AAA's, all that kinds of stuff. I think you would be fine, but
I mean, I don't know. Like, that's the crazy thing. I don't think we can ever actually. There's ever been like an actual EMP test. It's all been theoretical. If I'm not correct, or if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
There's some labs that try to recreate it, but you're never going to know until it actually happens.
Yeah, like that's
saying, kind of the fun part about EMP.
Yeah. Yep. According to all our studies and the theory, you're screwed. Doesn't mean it's actually going to happen because we've seen it. It could get way worse, or it could be a lot better than what they said, right? Like that theory can go either way. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, you got to trust the science, but also from what we've learned a few years ago, you're getting down a slippery road that we don't want to talk about at this time of night about science and trusting anything. So
fair enough. But like I said, as far as being prepared for EMP events, Faraday cages, Faraday boxes, we could go down a whole rabbit hole talking about those. Your generators, having them in some kind of Faraday cloth or something to protect them so that you can generate power if something were to happen. And just taking some steps, doing your research to harden your vehicles, your homes and such, and whatever it is you think is going to work after you've researched it, implement it. You might be right. You might be wrong. Won't know until it happens. We just cross our fingers and hope that it doesn't happen. Right.
And even your generators at home, just disconnecting if they're battery powered. Excuse me. Disconnecting the positive negative, touching the positive negative lead from the machine, not the battery. Like don't put a wrench across the battery. But doing that tends to discharge all the power that if, according to all the theory, a battery sitting there won't be affected by the EMP and all your stuff, you might be able to restart that generator when that time comes. So I don't
Until
know
it happens.
if you've got 2 generators, disconnect the battery of one. What's the harm? They're both fucked, or one of them works. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
good point.
Yeah. So yeah, just right. Like the theory part, prepping, you know, propane, obviously you're not going to be affected by it, but if you can't get your generator going, but yeah, popping that panel off or taking those 2 bolts off of your batteries. Same with if you've got like a weird old vehicle, disconnecting the batteries, the battery cable, sorry, and touching the positive, negative kind of discharges all that extra battery power and all those panels and everything that works. That might be something you have to do if it's not your wake up at 5 o'clock and drive to work every morning vehicle.
That's a good point. Switching gears into cyber attacks, and we've done a whole kind of couple episodes on cyber and that kind of stuff. But on offline backups, you know, keeping stuff stored in a USB stick, portable hard drive, something like that that's off the internet, not connected. So at least you've got copies of things. Being able to have a backup. So paper maps instead of relying on your GPS like we all do. I'm guilty of it and rely on the GPS all the time. Having paper map backup just in case something happens and the cell system's not working, GPS isn't working. At least you've still got something to reference. Just knowing your local community area, right? We've touched on that in the cyber episodes before. If mapping systems go down or communications go down, you know your area, you know how to kind of move around. And just watch out for all those social engineering things that are happening, right? That text message like Pierre talked about where it says, hey, we're from the CRA. We need you to log in. You really think the CRA is going to be texting you from some international number that's not from within Canada, first off? And second off, will they really be texting you to say you need to log in? Not a thing, right? But just taking that second and just thinking about it. And then a same thing with the phishing attacks, right? Just watching the emails, not clicking the link, verifying things are actually what you think they are before you click them.
Yeah, and quick side tangent. I'm not going to go through the whole
go
thing
for
we
it.
talked about before, but like cyber attacks. So my daughter tonight was thankfully smart and walked up and just been like, hey, I got this weird text from an unknown number. Thankfully, it didn't have a link she didn't hit, but a very odd, questionable text. We're just like, okay, well, let us look into this. Like, we took it and said, like, what the fuck? I'm 67. What do you mean? You know, do I want someone that's 14? Like, very odd text. And, you know, but also a big thing was like, okay, well, I'm happy that my daughter at her age said, hey, this is weird. It's not a number I know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as much as Eric, Jeff, myself, Greg, we can all be safe on the internet if you've got anything linked with your kids, and kids will be kids.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know everything. You do have to give them some slack. Like that can nip you in the ass just as much if you've got a Gmail that's hooked onto your kid's phone as well as your phone, so you can keep track of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Eric can tell you, like, if it's linked to more than one phone, you can probably get all of them.
Not wrong.
But right, like I'm not tech savvy and I know that's possible. So yeah, you know, so yeah, just also being mindful of cyber attacks, like hopefully open dialogue with kids, this, that, whether you've got apps. So then we started looking, like, you know, the pre-screened blocked spam messages. We were like, oh, there's like 5, 6 in there. She didn't know about it. Cool, delete them. Got some pictures, like gonna report it to the local police, just being like, yo, I don't know what the fuck's up with this, but like this is what we got. Like, you guys do what you want with it, but I feel comfortable doing my due diligence on it. So like, yeah, you got to be careful of cyber attacks on that. It's not just
100%.
you know, they're gonna take all your banking, like they're gonna control
There's
your
all
house
kinds of scams out there that can have all kinds of different impacts, right?
yeah So yeah.
Like I said, it was just kind of meant to be a fun kind of episode where we just banter back and forth about 2 fairly popular emergency preparedness topics that people seem to prepare for and get ready for. And I had fun bantering back and forth.
Yeah, no, it was good. I was like, oh, this was kind of cool because one of them I don't fucking understand, and the other one I understand a little bit more than not understanding.
Yeah, sort of. So that's the EMP one, right?
Like, yes. Cyberattack. I'm like, I got an issue with something. I'm like, Eric, help. 3 people I know, right? Gunny,
Yep.
Eric, Better Andrew, and Andrew. So 4. Sorry.
Yep.
Like, hey, something ain't fucking working. What website do I put in for you to remote access in to fix it? You know?
Is this
Like,
real? This is the thing.
Great. Like, and knowing someone like that can make a world of difference. But yeah, just informing yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Any final comments before we move into upcoming events from the panel?
No, I think we covered
All
it.
right.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, upcoming events. We've got the annual Preppers Meet 2025 coming up, and it's coming up quick. July 7th to the 13th, Slovenian Hunters and Anglers Club in Alliston, Ontario. Great event, always is. Slovenian Hunters and Anglers Club is a fantastic venue. If you haven't been out, get out and check it out because it's a lot of fun. Lots of good talks, lots of good things to learn, lots of good people to chat with, great food, good coffee in the morning. There's a swimming pool, there's camping. You can't go wrong. It's a great spot, great event. Family friendly, bring the kids, right? It's it's a good spot. Check it out. Like I said, July 7th to the 13th, Slovenian Hunters and Anglers Club in Alliston, Ontario. I'll put a link to the website in the chat here so everyone can grab their tickets. And Jeff, you got a weather blurb.
I do. So if you've been anywhere in, well, I was going to say United States, but Canada as well. I mean, you've had a few tornado outbreaks out west in the last week or so. It's been a pretty active tornado season so far, and it's not really showing any signs of slowing down. So far, there's been 1,007 confirmed tornadoes in the United States since January 1st. Remember, you don't get tornadoes in January, February usually. So, and out of that has resulted 68 fatalities. There's probably a lot more tornadoes out there that just dropped in an open field somewhere, didn't hit anything, nobody's seen it. So, those numbers, as I say, are just confirmed tornadoes. So it's always, you always got to pay attention, especially if you live in tornado prone areas. We had a late start to the summer, and that caused, a lot, like I say, the clash between the cooler air and the warmer air. And of course it's been super hot now, so we're into summer. But on the flip side, while things have been quiet so far on the hurricane front in the Atlantic, the Pacific side has been fairly active. They've had 7 named storms over there so far. None of them have been a danger to land. They haven't, caused significant damage or anything like that. But we do have Tropical Storm Barry in the Gulf right now, but it's heading in a westerly direction, and it's just going to plop right into Mexico. And it's barely a tropical storm right now, and it's going to make landfall very shortly, and it won't become much of anything after that. But what we do need to watch out for is there could be a system trying to do something in and around the northern Gulf, the eastern Atlantic on the edges of Florida and Georgia and that in the next week or so. National Hurricane Center is kind of seeing the same thing I was, and they've issued a 20% chance of something forming in the next 7 days. That's right now. I could see that number going up. I think the atmosphere is good there. There's some spin in the atmosphere. So, keep an eye on that. I'll be updating Discord frequently, and, that's it.
Oh, fantastic. Gotta love the weather. Well, with that,
Mother Nature is in a fucking menopause this fucking goddamn year. I'll tell you that
all
much.
over the place.
Like, yeah, fucking 46, and then the next day it's 12. I'm like, oh, crazy.
I'll take a second to answer Rob's question here in the live chat before we sign off the episode. He says, as a guy who doesn't know a quarter of what you guys know, what would be the first thing you do if an EMP event were to happen? I say jump into the Discord, ask the question there, and we'll answer it in there.
We will eventually meet up for supper, and we can bring a bottle of whiskey and we'll have that conversation, Rob. So Rob lives about 20 minutes away from us. Actually, he lives like down the road from Brad. You've known Brad for years and everything, and me and Mel have met him through something else, and they know I do a few podcasts. So yeah, he's come. So yeah, but yeah, absolutely join the Discord. That would be better because you'll get more than just my drunken rantings. But yeah, but we can go down that rabbit hole if you bring the whiskey 100%. It might not be 100% useful, but it'll be something.
Just remember that Pierre doesn't know what an EMP is, so take that with a grain of salt.
I know what it is. It's a thing that goes boom, and then all your electronics don't work.
Well, okay, you're close. Yep.
That's called letting the smoke out. Yeah.
Like in a nutshell, that's what it is. Now, what does it do specifically to those electronics? Okay, well, I mean, I got all this maintenance on the beard. I can't learn everything, right?
Oh boy. All right. With the beard maintenance, I'll bring episode number 269 of the Canadian Prepper podcast to an end. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or really your favorite podcast app. There's probably even a beard one you can listen to us on if you look hard enough. Please submit a review. It does encourage the algorithms to promote us slightly for a minute until they realize that we're talking about preparedness. They slam us back down to the bottom. But it does help other people find the show.
And we do record these shows live on YouTube and Facebook as well. If you want an early peek at the shows, please subscribe to the YouTube channel Canadian Prepper Podcast and click the notifications tab. It gives you an alert when we're going live. Anybody wants to reach out for me for whatever reason, it's feedback@prepperpodcast.ca.
You can reach me on the Discord app or at crossrifleranch@gmail.com.
You can find me off the wall customizing on maybe one of the socialist medias. I am on the Discord. I don't do much other than poke and pride inappropriate jokes and tell Eric something about next thing he needs to learn is club sandwiches, not ham. Or I am pretty much always on the other CPP on Monday nights on YouTube's the Canadian Patriot podcast, where we discuss government abuse and silliness of why you should be prepared for EMPs, maybe from whether it's your government or others.
All right, you can check out Rapid Survival at rapidsurvival.com and get me there on the live chat. You can also email me at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, be prepared, stay safe,
and keep learning.